with my delicious chocolate tea.
Ooh, yeah, I know. Florence
Florence from Harney and Son.
Sons. I don't know what I'm having. I'm having an Indian tea, very similar to Assam, but I can't remember the Nalgiri, I think it's called, from Trader Joe's.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Joseph.
Yes, our friend Joseph. So, this is our first podcast. We're podcasting. Look at us.
Yep.
So I'm going to start with welcome to the Cozy Nook with Creepie and Squirrel.
Hello, baby.
And I'm Squirrel. And who are you?
Creepy.
That's right. I knew that. It's in the title. So I just thought I'd go through and tell you what we're all about. This is, the intro podcast. So basically, we're TV professionals and we now work from home and we like a bunch of stuff. And we thought, hey, we've got some little bits of gear sitting around. Let's share our stuff. And that's pretty much what that's about.
That's true.
It's very relaxed, very kickback. The podcast is going to be basically, we're going to talk about TV shows and movies and books and things that we're dealing with or reading, not dealing with, but things we're reading, with things that we're trying to escape, the stuff we're dealing with,
right?
The stuff we're using for that.
Right.
And just share it with everybody and keep it cozy and relaxed.
Right.
Let's see. Oh, and I'm going to get this out there right now because sometimes people start going, I wonder. So no one's going to wonder. Yes, I have ADHD.
Right.
And it's solid. So you will notice probably. I like to get that on the table right away because, and want to, so yeah, what I did camera and editing in television, national broadcast television. So I went all over the United States filming stuff for Discovery Channel and Sports Channel, lots of outdoor shows, fishing and hunting and that sort of thing. And I did a lot of camera and a lot of editing. Those were my gigs. And I figured I might as well do that from here. And Creepy, what about you?
Oh, I'm an ex-makeup artist. I'm a dog lover. I'm a perfume hoarder.
Yes, you are.
I am.
Which works out pretty good for me as well.
I am. I'm into all things goth, dark academia. I'm a gamer.
If you're more downtown, I'm more town and country.
I know. I used to have one of those game subscriptions. Remember those?
Oh, yeah, totally. It was like Netflix, but they sent you game discs instead of DVDs. If anyone doesn't know this, Netflix, when they first started, would send you DVDs in the mail. They didn't have anything online except where you'd go online and pick out what you wanted them to send you, and they'd send it to you, you'd watch it, and then you'd put it in this pre-done envelope to send back. And that's how that started. And then they started putting stuff online and you didn't have to wait for it to show up in the mail. And that was kind of nice.
Yeah, there was a company that did that with video games.
Yeah, I can't remember, it was game something. And I don't remember
what they were called. But anyway, I was one of the first people who did that. And I did that for years until I gave that up and I just became a gamer.
Yeah, I became a gamer when the word video game was invented. And I mean, really, I was fascinated by Pong when it first came out.
What was the first system you had? The first
one I actually had at my home for my use was an Atari 2600, the black one with the faux wood grain stuff on it, and the little black joystick with the orange button, and it was just straight up, and you'd hold that square and you'd be jerking that thing around and hitting the button.
We had one of those.
Yeah, and that was the first one, and then after that it was arcades.
Did you have a ColecoVision?
No, I didn't have any other system. After that Atari, I had nothing. I went to arcades and stuff, and then some people I were with really felt that video games were very immature, and that's just not a good thing to do. And so I had to, make that my secret shame.
No.
So I would, but then computers happened. So then the computer gaming at home on the PC started, and I was into Doom. And all these really crunchy sounding, 16-bit and 32-bit. Yeah. Oh, it was just terrible, but so much fun. Yeah, good times.
Oh, my game started. I was into Myst. Myst was my first puzzle game. I was into puzzle games at first. So Myst was my first big puzzle game, and I was obsessed with Myst. I had to show Myst to everyone, and we had to compete to see who could solve Myst first, right?
Nice.
And then after that, it became The Sims. Everything was, once The Sims hit, that was it. No one saw me for months on end. I think I moved to New York. This was like around 1999, and The Sims hit, and everyone was like, "Oh, are you going out every night in New York?" I was like, "Hell no, dude."
In Simtown.
The Sims probably saved my life from murder, from mayhem,
right?
From alcoholism, whatever.
Well, you see, that's the thing, though. See, we're Gen X, so we remember when the phone was still connected to the dang wall with a cord.
Oh yeah.
And that was it. And it was come home when the streetlights come on, but I don't even care what you're doing. Just get out of the house.
That's how my whole childhood was spent. My neighbors as a kid had a zip line.
Right.
And I didn't even know what it was called. But looking back, that was a home crafted zip line.
Right.
And it went between trees.
Well, regulations in the 70s. I mean.
Right. And
we had lawn darts.
You landed on what was just like a board nailed to a tree. That's what your feet landed on. And I would get injured every day. The scrapes and bruises. And I remember my parents would say, you come home when the street lights are on.
Right.
And my brother was out riding his bike, and he wasn't riding it in the street.
We all were.
He was riding it in the woods.
In the woods, on the sidewalk.
On the sidewalk?
Jump the sidewalk, go across the street, jump the next curb, and down into the woods again.
He was doing bike tricks, because that's what you did in the 80s, right? He wasn't... You weren't doing it for... you were trying to do tricks.
By the 80s,
right?
By the 80s, we had gone from living in town to the farm. So the nearest neighbor was like 5 acres away, and there was no whole... I tried to learn... Okay, I don't know if I want to get this honest. But for a while, when I was very young, I was into clowning.
Yeah.
Because it was a blast. And I love seeing... You make a kid smile and laugh so much that it's like he's losing his mind, or she's just giggling like crazy. Nothing feels better than making a kid feel joy.
Right.
That's really it. Do a magic trick, make an animal balloon, whatever. And so, see, ADHD, I don't know what I was talking about. What started it? It'll come back.
Playing games on a bike.
Yes, bikes. There we go. So I lived. We had a little square of concrete in front of the garage.
Oh.
Then we had gravel.
Yeah.
In a circle, and then we had this crushed red cinder rock all the way down the driveway, which the driveway was very long.
I know about that.
So I tried to learn how to ride a unicycle. And the thing on gravel, don't try to learn how. I never learned. I'm just going to say it. I never fully got the hang of it, because by the time I got up on the thing and got moving, you are off the square of concrete and into the gravel now. And so it's like, and it wasn't one of those fancy dirt bike ones.
No, of course not.
It was just a regular old clowny
unicycle.
Street tire. Yeah, and it was awful. So yeah, I didn't really do a lot of bike tricks.
No.
We didn't bike a lot. Nearest place to bike to was 5-7 miles away. No one wanted to do that.
No.
I'll just stay home. What's on Channel 12?
Oh my God, old movies.
I had cows to feed. Not a lot. It wasn't like we were busting our hump out there, but we worked in the garden and we dealt with the cows and the chickens and, helped Dad work, help Dad at work, things like that. So, don't try to ride a unicycle on gravel.
No.
So Gen X, that's who we are.
I miss those. I miss that programming that we had, that we could turn on the TV back in our childhood. And it was all the shows were free. TV was free.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
As long as you had an antenna.
If you had an antenna. And you could just turn it on. I could watch cartoons all day on Saturday and Sunday.
You got all day?
All day.
We only got until about noon, and then it went to regular programming.
Well, maybe not all day.
But they would put on pro wrestling, and then, you get into that.
I would get up at like 7 and start watching cartoons until
get us up during the week, but
until I got chased out to go outside. But I got a good chunk of cartoons in,
right?
And all those after school all those little songs that we know, like all those little songs about.
All the public service announcements, the ones about cheese and brushing your teeth, and all the schoolhouse rocks and
schoolhouse rock songs. That's what they're called.
Yeah, all of those.
Yeah, like
fantastic.
The what is it? A hanker for a hunk of cheese.
I even remember a stupid PSA about hepatitis.
What the hell?
Yes, wash your hands after going to the bathroom.
What?
Wash your hands after changing baby too.
What?
Because we don't want you to catch hepatitis, and we don't want hepatitis to catch you.
Holy shit!
It was awful. I had no idea what hepatitis was. I was 7. And I was like, okay, well, I wash my hands, but I don't change babies.
Could you imagine if you would have said that at the dinner table?
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go.
I mean, yeah.
No, stop. My dog, our dog is over here looking at me like you're not paying me nearly enough attention.
Oh, yeah, that's our little Bootsy.
Well, we should move on and get into the meat of things, because we got to chatting because we do this. So, yeah, this is going to be about stuff we like. So here's the stuff we like. TV shows this month. It's November. This is what we're watching. Creepy's about to pop. Go Creepy.
Dude, Talamasca.
Yes, agreed. On AMC.
I did not. It's on AMC Plus. I was getting ready to cancel that subscription. It's on Amazon, Amazon Prime. I was really loath to spend $4.99 a month for another subscription.
With one show.
One show. I mean, there are a lot of really great horror, thriller-based shows. They have a really great show about a First Nation Sheriff's Department.
Yes, Dark Skies.
Yes. That is impeccable. I really love their depiction of the Dene people. I love that a lot.
Fantastic.
But all that said, I was just getting bored of their programming. And it was just, I felt like everything was just so scary, and some things were just so gross. And
we're so old that we've seen so many things. A lot of it's a little bit of a rehash sometimes.
Right.
Oops, sorry, doggy.
I was just getting bored. And so I thought, oh God, I watched that whole Interview with a Vampire season last.
And that was really good too.
And it was good.
And then the wait between that to this one, I was just like, I don't know, should we just...
I thought the next one was coming up so fast, and I was getting all excited.
For the Lestat one.
They said Lestat's coming next year, and I said, what the heck am I going to do for a year? And then
at least it's coming. I'm telling you, my one thing that hurts my soul is that I keep getting emotionally invested into a television program, and then they just cancel that sucker and don't let them wrap up the story or anything, and I just feel left to hang out to dry.
Same.
Hung out to dry,
Same. But then Talamasca came.
Right, and it's good.
And I didn't know what to expect, so I wouldn't say anything negative about it, but I thought, oh God, I had no hopes for it. I was just,
right,
whatever.
Because they've ruined so many things.
Right.
So many things they have strayed from the main source material.
Right.
And then it's not, to me, I don't feel like it's as good, or it could have been better had you not called it that, because then I had something totally different in mind.
Right.
There.
Because that first movie the first Interview with the Vampire was so unlike the actual book. And I was like, what on earth is this? Like,
Well, even Anne Rice wasn't thrilled, if I remember.
No, she wasn't. Tom Cruise as Lestat, give me a break.
That did hurt a little bit.
That really hurt. Like, he can't even act. But anyway, that's my opinion. Anyway, so we started watching this, and it was good.
Really good. That one was really good. Talamasca, a real quick non-spoiler, it's about a group of people who, it's kind of got an X-Files vibe a little bit, because it's an organization that investigates supernatural phenomena. And it's got that kind of thing, but it's darker. It's way darker. And there's intrigue within, and so that's really I'm digging on that.
They revisit characters that you haven't that you've seen last season in the interview.
Yeah, in an interview with the vampire,
right?
They bring some people back.
They bring people back.
So you can see how the worlds can say it's in the same world.
And then there are effects you didn't expect to see.
Right.
There are actors. There are some seasoned actors you didn't expect to see. And I thought, oh
wait, we got to move on.
Yeah, it's great. It's freaking great.
Oh yeah, if we're gonna talk, I mean, because I know the next two that I'm gonna lay down, we could talk for days, so we gotta keep it short.
Right.
Resident Alien, help me Jesus. Oh, what a wonderful program! It just brought joy deep into my soul. It was so.
It's
odd.
the best writing. It's the best writing. The best.
Fantastic.
The best. From the first season to the last season,
the whole thing.
You will laugh. You will say, why didn't I think to say that? Who is writing this? It is funny. It is so brilliant. I would have had no idea to take the story where it's gone.
And oh my God, the props.
Oh my goodness, the props.
I'm just throwing that out there because my friend Tim Oakley does the props, and I wanted to just shout out because really,
it's a 10 out of 10 for me. I've never seen a series before that has been a 10 out of 10, and I love
100%. There's nothing I didn't like about it.
No.
You know, a lot of times a show will be going along. Well, there's been many a show that started great and then fizzled. Right. Sadly, you know, a couple of shows that we really, really liked that did that.
And they knew it was ending.
They knew it, and they wrapped it up nice. I love it when they wrap it up. I hate it when they just get canceled. I saw one show where the show.
Oh, remember that?
Oh my God.
Dude.
It was so bad. Dude. The whole thing that leads up to, you know, they're having the wedding or whatever, dude stops by to check on something at the new house he bought, and somebody shoots him and he falls on the floor and he's bleeding out, and that's how the show ended. And then they canceled the show during the summer hiatus, and that was it. And I'm like, you can't do like a TV movie, wrap it up, something. I hate it when they don't wrap it up. I think that's the OCD in me.
What about that show that we were watching with all the heroes and they all got arrested?
Yes, Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Loved
dude,
those guys
what happened?
So much, you know?
And then it's just over.
And then it's like, we're gonna cuff them and stuff them, and then the party's over.
What the hell? Or that guy who got hogtied and dragged through town, and then that's the end of the show.
It's over.
People.
Resident Alien does not do that to you.
No, they don't.
Resident Alien is a beautiful story from start to finish. Highly recommended. Where is that? On Peacock? Is that what it is?
Peacock.
It's on Peacock. And then for me, the last one on my list is also alien-based. Oh, Alien Earth.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't.
Don't eat while you watch it.
Don't eat while you watch it. Yeah, that's important. There is definitely, we call this the Cozy Nook. I don't know that this movie, I mean, it depends on what makes you feel cozy, but I love sci-fi. It makes me feel good. This one did have me jumping off the couch a little bit. There was some, what'd you call it? Body horror? There's some body horror. And I'm not a huge.
Some body horror?
Okay, I'm not a big fan of body horror at all.
It's 60% body horror.
I was so proud of myself for making it through this series without turning away too much. I was proud.
I didn't succeed.
There were some rough patches, definitely, but totally worth the ride for the story told. There's just one episode that by itself, just alone, is a fantastic alien movie.
Yeah.
Just that one episode.
Yeah.
It's really, the storytelling is fantastic.
It is.
They go places I never expected an alien story to go. I was starting, and you know, because I was having a terrible mood, and then we watched an alien movie, and I just was like, tore it to crap. And then later I'm like, it wasn't that bad. I was just in a bad mood. But I started to think, you know, the Alien franchise was starting to get a little repetitious, you know, we're in space. Oops, xenomorph, you know?
Yeah.
And then chaos ensues. But I like that this has really fleshed out a lot of story for me and brought it back to life for me. I'm excited to see what comes next.
I am too. I didn't expect it to end the way that it did, but they did that because there's going to be another season.
There better be, because you don't just drop it like that. I mean, not that it was a bad end. It was a good end.
It was a good end.
And it would work as an end, like finale, if it had to.
There you go.
But I would prefer it did not.
And that's all we have to say.
And that's about it for that one.
And that's all we'd have to say.
I recommend all of those. So that's Talamasca's on the AMC Plus, which you can either just AMC Plus or AMC Plus the subscription on Amazon Prime. We'll put links below in the show notes. Resident Alien on Peacock, fantastic. And Alien Earth was on Apple, yes? No,
that was on Hulu.
Hulu.
Sorry,
yes,
Hulu.
Alien Earth was on Hulu. All right, so that's TV. Let's talk about movies. What are your movie picks?
Oh my
We
God.
kind of had a lot of the same stuff, but I don't know.
Okay, first of all, I wanted to give shout out. This is not a new movie, but the newest in the Hellraiser movies.
And that was my first one, and I even wrote a little quote next to it. And you know the quote.
You have chosen
the
lament configuration.
That one, then that's when my brain went, yeah.
I don't want to say anything about this movie.
Lay it down. I'm not going to lay it
I
down.
will say one thing. I think it's genius that they have chosen a female Pinhead.
She's, I heard a lot of people talk down about it. Like, I don't know, it wasn't as good. No, she scared me to death.
She scared me to death.
She was almost, I would say as much or more than the original.
I would say equally, and I will say also that
the first time you see the original Pinhead, you're just like, your butt tightens. I mean, it's like, because he didn't walk.
No.
That's not walking, that's floating.
No. I think that this story, because the story was just a little different.
Yes.
But it was based on the same lore.
Expanded the lore.
They expanded it just enough because we never really understood what the hell that puzzle was about. Even though if you've seen some of the older movies, the older sequels, what we'll call them.
Oh yeah.
Tony Hickox directed some of those, with the Toy Maker.
Right.
Remember those?
Yes.
They showed some of the backstory, and they kind of explained it to me. They didn't really flesh that out. So, I never really understood why. What are you getting out of that? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I wonder though sometimes, because let's say, I've seen this a little bit before, and I wonder if it went in this direction. Like they had the base story, right?
Right.
But was it a short story originally, or was it a full novel?
I don't remember. I don't know.
Because I'm wondering if they took the lore from the book, but there wasn't necessarily that much lore, and then you okay. My example is, and this is going to sound really weird, the Puppet Master series from Full Moon Pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible B-movie schlock that I love to death.
Right.
So it starts off as just a slasher movie.
Right.
Right. Puppets come alive, stab, 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 drill, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next one, the puppets are back, drill, drill, stab, stab, shoot, shoot. And after they got about 4 or 5, then finally someone was like, how do these puppets keep coming alive? Is there a reason? Do we know? And so they made this movie called Retro Puppet Master. And that one is the origin of the puppets. And that was, the other ones I had seen, it's funny, you watch it, you eat popcorn, you laugh with your friends, and then you return it to the Blockbuster the next day. This one, I sat down and watched. You know what I mean? Because it had a story, and I'm like, and now you're getting interesting. There's Egyptian death stuff going on and moving spirits from people into the puppets and all of this. And I was like, now that makes sense. I dig that. And so then I watched that one, and then they kind of built on that afterwards. And I was wondering if maybe in this case it was similar, where they had, I know the box in Hellraiser was always referred to as the Lament Configuration.
Right.
I thought it was just a clever name.
Me too.
Which was, by the way, a very cool, creepy name. Loved it. But that was all I ever thought that name was. But you get to find out why it's called that in this movie. And that's when your brain just goes, oh, huh? What just happened?
They talk about all the configurations.
Well, we didn't know there were more. That's the other thing. Up until this point, I didn't know there were different configurations, but I wonder if that is the added lore. It doesn't matter. It's fantastic. I was trepidatious. I was like, maybe I should be doing something. Maybe.
Thank God we watched it in the day. It was a lot. It
wasn't a watch it and then go to bed movie.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't as bad. I will tell you, I could not have watched Us and gone to bed.
Oh Lord, no! Heavens to Betsy.
I did not look in the mirror for a day after I watched that movie. I did not look in the mirror for an entire 24 hours after I watched that movie. I would like to say to Jordan Peele, how dare you? How dare you?
I'd like to say, Jordan, woo, way to go, man.
Because there are a lot of tunnels underground.
Yes.
There are.
There are plenty of tunnels. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, there are some.
Okay.
So
that jacked me up.
It did. Yeah. That was, see, we've added a movie to the list now, Us. Well, here's the thing. See, we watched Get Out. Let's talk about Jordan Peele's filmography for a moment.
Get Out.
We watched Get Out, and that was great. Now, see, didn't you think it was going to be a comedy when we went?
I did.
And I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't going to be a comedy, but she was unaware of this. And so we go there and we watch the movie. When we left, she was just quiet, like that was not what I was expecting.
Dude.
And then I saw the trailer for Us, and I just went to I just said, no way, ain't no way I can't. I can tell you right now, just by the trailer, I will not be able to watch this picture. All right, let's talk about books. What are you reading this month?
I'm reading Lev Grossman's The Magicians.
Ah, yes. Again.
This is how much I love these books. If you are on a budget and you can't find any great fantasy, they're playing the series on Tubi right now. And so they don't really follow the story of the book so closely, but it's close.
It's got the same vibe.
It's got the same vibe. And if you like the series, you'll love the book even more. Right. A lot of this they're the same characters, most of the same characters. Some of the characters have been changed a little bit. You'll find that a lot in fantasy fiction. But it was really after watching the series that made me want to read the books. And everyone's like, oh my God, the books are so much better.
Right.
But in the books, they start a little bit younger.
Aren't the books always better?
Yeah, they start a little bit younger, and then we go forward and we get to watch everyone grow. Okay. But I'd already fallen in love with these characters by the time I started the first book. So I couldn't wait to see who they were as younger people. It's kind of like watching a prequel. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. Okay.
So yeah, to me, it's a great series. I didn't love the last season so much.
They were having production troubles.
They were. One of the actors had to leave to be with his wife or something.
Yeah, so, that was not in the plan, and so they did the best they could.
They really did. But all that said, it is absolutely worth watching. I couldn't recommend it more. And if you're a fan of fantasy and you can't find anything to watch, or like I said, if you're on a budget, there aren't a lot of really great options out there. Mm-hmm. That's one really great thing you could watch on Tubi for free. That or Winona Earp. I forgot about her. I think that I really highly recommend that.
That's been a lot more fun than I had expected it to be as well.
It is such a great story. And when you're finished with watching Winona Earp on Tubi, at the end, it wraps up with a movie.
The movie, yeah.
They made a movie to kind of wrap it up.
That I appreciate. Then I don't feel like I'm being patronized or not getting what I paid for.
Right, because there isn't a book. Right, because there isn't a book.
Right, I can't read the one in an ERP book and find out how the story ends.
Right.
So it's nice that they do that.
Right. Sometimes these stories, well, actually, it's based on a Dark Horse comic, so you could read the comic. Actually, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Actually, there is a book, so there's a comic. But some of these, like, if you're a fan of Resident Alien, and you're saying, I'm not getting enough of it, right? You could also read the
Resident Alien was a comic series, and it's different.
Dark Horse?
Yes.
I think it's Dark Horse.
Yeah, I think they're Dark Horse.
The series is different.
It's different, but I like it also. But you can't look. It's not like the show. The alien looks different. There's just some differences there.
Right.
But still got that same vibe. You can see.
But it's still a great show. It's still a great story.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So my book this month. What am I going to read? I'm reading The Wheel of Time, Book 1, The Eye of the World. My friend Cool Keith had recommended it to me. I would tell you about it, but I haven't read it yet. So that'll have to wait until our next podcast in December.
That's right.
And the other thing, I've just rediscovered Archie comics through the Archie horror side of things, which has been a lot of fun. And I'm just reading those. That's been really, really good. Well written, getting me back into comic books. So I like that.
I like that. I like that you're listening to Sisters of Mercy and reading.
Yeah, I caught myself the other day. I'm reading like the classic Archie stuff, not the horror stuff, just the regular stuff, and giggling to myself. And I got Sisters of Mercy playing in the background, Black Planet, and in the Temple of Love. And I was sitting there just giggling. I joke and had another sandwich.
There you go.
Because what makes you happy makes you happy. Okay, well, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thank you for coming to the first podcast of Creepy and Squirrel's The Cozy Nook.
There you go.
Hope to see you next month. We're going to we'll talk about winter is coming, because winter is coming.
That's right.
And
brr.
Yeah, time to cozy up.
Right.
Full blanket time. So leave a review, hit the rating, hit the buttons on the podcast aggregator that you use, and we would really appreciate it. And we would look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.